Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivinoda Thakura Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvise Sisanyavadi Paschachara Satarine. We are going to be speaking about Prabhupada. We never finished reading my Vyas Puja offering. Bhavi Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. And I'm running a little late. We had a workshop last night, and I needed to rest a little more because I got a little bit of a cold in Chile, because it's chilly in Chile this time of year. So while I was getting ready, I was listening to Prabhupada, and he said, Arjuna was a better devotee than Yudhisthira Maharaj because Yudhisthira Maharaj hesitated when Krishna said, you have to tell a lie. He hesitated to say it. Arjuna didn't hesitate. And therefore, Arjuna was better. Interesting. And Prabhupada was saying, when Krishna asks you to do something, you can't hesitate. You have to do it. I'm going to plug in this mic. Hopefully it'll work. Just give me 1 second. Hey Krishna, is that okay? You hear me better? And then I just have to turn on my computer and find what we were reading last time. I was doing some things this morning, so I'm running late. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Well, let me read you something just because it's so nice. Maybe we can end up discussing this. Maybe we'll discuss this because I don't have my recorder, and the series on Prabhupada I would like to record because we've already recorded 3, and if I do it now without my recorder, it's not so good. So let me just read you 2 things that I found the other day about the holy name. And maybe we'll end up discussing this because I think it's really important. This is from Bhaktivinoda Thakura. The devotee who worships the holy name should first petition the Lord for strength to cast out all these unfavorable tendencies. So previously he listed so many unfavorable tendencies. And so he's saying, basically what he's saying is when you begin chanting, you should petition the Lord or pray for strength through the holy name. Yeah, if you you can. The sound's always there on Facebook. Yeah, you can download it. That would be good. So when you begin chanting, you petition the Lord that please help me overcome or cast out all these anarthas. What does he say? Unfavorable tendencies. And I should pray like this every day. So he's giving insight into what is done when you're chanting, what a devotee should do when they're chanting. It's not, you're just chanting and nothing's going on internally, but he's saying, we're asking Krishna for strength. There's this Christian prayer, and the Christian devotee prays, don't give me tasks equal to my strength, but give me strength equal to the tasks. So I love that prayer because sometimes we might pray, Krishna, make my life easier, when actually we should pray for the strength to deal with life as it is. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura is making the point, obviously, that chanting is prayer. And what should you pray for? Well, you should pray for what you're dealing with. What's the problem for you? What are those unfavorable tendencies? So we all know what our unfavorable tendencies are. And if we think about it, a certain few unfavorable tendencies are actually big obstacles in our relationship with Krishna, big obstacles in our relationship with Prabhupada, and in our spiritual advancement. It's kind of all the same thing. And so it only makes sense that if we're going into dialogue with Krishna through chanting, that we would ask for what's most important for us. And what's most important for us is if we have any big obstacles, then at this point in our spiritual advancement, what's most important is removing those obstacles. If those obstacles are removed, something else may be more important, like ruchi or becoming more attached to Krishna or entering Raganuga Bhakti or something. But on the stage where the devotee still has obstacles, and Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying, this is how you enter Japa, with a mood of, please give me strength to deal with these obstacles. So let's continue reading. By doing this regularly, the devotee's heart will eventually become purified. Sri Krishna has killed a number of demons. And sometimes these demons, they're compared to anarthas. So Sri Krishna has killed a number of demons which may arise in the kingdom of the heart. So those anarthas, the demons represent anarthas, they arise in the heart. So Krishna kills them. So in order to destroy these problems, a devotee must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. And the Lord will nullify all contaminations. So he's describing our condition. He's describing our condition. Demons in the heart, anarthas, unwanted desires, and other characteristics that are not helpful for bhakti. A lot of tamasic influences that we've brought over from our life in the material world. And then he says something which I love. In order to destroy these problems, the devotee must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. So in that sentence, in a sense, he's defining humility as that I have a problem, I can't do it on my own. If you don't help me, I'll be defeated. So that therefore humility means this helplessness in solving a problem. And pride means, no, I can do it myself. I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm powerful, I can do all this myself. That's, no, you can't. Let me turn on another light. Maybe it'll help. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So, humility is often described as a kind of helplessness. And the devotee approaches Krishna that I need help. Just like by Sheshaka Prabhu, he'll tell people when they ask, well, what does this mantra mean? Or he'll tell them the mantra means I need help. And, we might say, well, we never heard Prabhupada say it exactly that way. But basically, this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying right here, isn't it? He's saying that the mood of the devotee in chanting is, he must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. Then the Lord will nullify all contaminations. So this is beautiful. And what Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying is, we're helpless, but don't be hopeless. So here's the key. Here's the little t-shirt. Be helpless, but not hopeless. Or be helpless, but be hopeful. So it's actually in helplessness that we can be hopeful. Oh, there you are, over there. Yeah. It's actually in helplessness that you can be hopeful. Because Krishna helps those who are helpless, who want to be helped. And in its last sentence, the Lord will thus nullify all contaminations. Isn't that beautiful? Have you ever thought you're so contaminated that there's no help for you? I'm sure you have. I think some devotees feel that constantly. Other devotees feel that from time to time. That this is too hard, or I have some very big anarthas that I'm not able to. Doesn't seem like I'm able to overcome them. Yeah, well, on your own, you won't be able to overcome them. Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying, if you enter the mood of Japa, in the mood of, I am helpless, these are my problems, I need your help in overcoming them, then, and you admit defeat, okay, Krishna, I can't do it. This is like Draupadi. Krishna, he really, I don't want to say he likes it, but he shows his mercy to the devotee that feels helpless without him. And how could he not? But whereas if false ego is there, we don't feel completely helpless. Well, I can do it. To the degree we think we can do it, to that degree Krishna will say, okay, go ahead and do it. To the degree we think we can't do it, Krishna will say, okay, I will do it. And so if you're struggling with something, it may be that you haven't turned it completely over to Krishna. Possibly, that's something to think about. So let's read this again in light of what I just said, and maybe when I read it now it'll have more power. The devotee who worships the holy name should first petition the Lord for strength to cast out all unfavorable tendencies, and should thus pray before the Lord Hari on a daily basis. By doing this regularly, so we can say by chanting Japa like this every day, by doing this regularly, the devotee's heart will eventually become purified. By turning over our anarthas to Krishna in helplessness will become purified. Sri Krishna has killed a number of demons. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying, don't worry, Krishna can get rid of your demons. Krishna has killed a number of demons, which may arise in the kingdom of the heart. So in order to destroy these problems, a devotee must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. In other words, he's saying, I like to rephrase this. He's saying, okay, you have demons in your heart. And Krishna is certainly capable of killing those demons. But there's a procedure. And the procedure is you have to approach Krishna with helplessness. Of course, obviously, the desire to remove these unfavorable tendencies. But that complete humility, that I can't do this on my own. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakura says, then Krishna, of course, can remove these demons. There's no problem. He's killed many demons. And so he can kill these demons in the heart. And if you petition, he will. The last sentence, the Lord will nullify all contamination. So he's really giving us insight into the process of chanting, or the mood of chanting. We approach Krishna in a helpless, in a humble way. Now, I think that's clear. Okay, you might say, well, how to become humble? Well, of course, false ego is always luring throughout our life, but one way to become humble, it's not like becoming humble, it's more like realizing all of us, our position is humble. So I can't say in one sentence you could become humble, but I could say in a sentence you could realize your humble position, and that's just look at the reality of life. Look at our reality. We're in a vulnerable position. Nature can harm us at any moment, and this is happening all the time. We don't know physically our situation of health. We don't know where it's at, and it can handicap us. We're actually so humble. We're just one entity out of unlimited numbers. We're one planet out of unlimited numbers, out of unlimited universes. So, you're struggling with humility. It's kind of hilarious to be, when you actually think about it. Like, pride is like really funny. Like, what do you have to be proud of? We're one insignificant entity out of unlimited numbers, in unlimited numbers of universes. And we're in a body that's getting old and dying. That's what you're proud of? Oh, no, but my body can speak well, or my body can paint well, or my body can sing well. Yeah, well, so can millions of other bodies, so you're not really special. The only specialty you have is that you become a devotee, but we can become proud of that in a transcendental way. But to become proud of anything else, it's ridiculous. Oh, I'm proud that I'm good in business. Yeah, but how did that intelligence come? Krishna gave it to you. So when you actually think about it, it's utterly ridiculous to be proud about anything, because however good you are at anything, it's insignificant compared to Krishna's ability, and Krishna gave you the ability anyway, so it's not even yours. And aside from that, you're in this prison suit. I'm proud of my body, it's very beautiful. No, that's your prison suit. That confirms you're envious of Krishna. You're proud of that. You're proud of the body, which is a symbol of envy of Krishna. So it's not really, I don't think we should look at things so much as becoming humble. It's just, if we just look around, we will be humbled by reality. And so to be proud is not to look at reality, isn't it? If you think about it, you agree? I mean, just like walk around. You're not the only one on the planet, right? As one writer said, aside from you, there's everybody else. Like, you're one, and there's on this planet 8 billion. That's just human. I don't know how many total species, total living entities are on the planet, but let's just estimate, let's say a zillion, quadrillion, gobbledygook zillion. There's a lot, and we're just one. And so aside from this one, there's everybody else, and we're like proud of that we can, run a mile in 4 minutes, or play guitar like Jimi Hendrix or something. It doesn't make any sense. You can't play guitar like the demigods, or sing like the demigods, or look like the demigods. So compared to them, Prabhupada said, we're like frogs. Our beauty is like frogs. So it's just a question of a reality check. And so a devotee lives in this reality, and that's why he's humble. The other point is, really the undertone or underlying principle in this statement of Bhaktivinoda Thakura is that unless you're humble, how could you depend on Krishna? How could you just throw your hands up in the air and say, I can't do this? Unless you're humble, you wouldn't say that, right? So humility is an essential ingredient for dependence on Krishna. Okay, you have some questions. Before I want to read something else, but there's some questions or comments. Just have to go back and see where they started. Okay. What about situations when we see a specific anartha in ourselves and we know it's detrimental for us, and somehow or other we are attached to that anartha and we don't even want to ask Krishna to remove it because we are taking some pleasure from this anartha? Yeah. Well, there's a couple options. You could go to the Ganga, put weights on your feet, and kill yourself before you give in to the anartha. Of course, we're not serious here. But figuratively, we are serious, because there's a verse in Bhagavatam or CC, where it's quoted in Bhagavatam or CC from somewhere else, I can't remember. And Mahaprabhu is saying, if a man is attached to a woman, if a man is attached to the association of men who are attached to women, then it's better to drink poison. And what does he mean? Because there was something like that. I can't remember now. Too much mucus in my body. I can't remember. My brain is clogged up with mucus. But something to the effect that if you become attached, that attachment if you become attached to something that could destroy your spiritual life, better you kill yourself now. Quit while you're ahead. Like, you're gambling, you won a few $100s. Just quit. No, I want to gamble this, I could win 10,000. No, you'll probably lose 10,000 if you continue. Quit while you're ahead. So it's kind of like that. Quit before you give in to this anartha. That's a pretty heavy statement, isn't it? Mahaprabhu was saying, if you're attached, if a man's attached to a woman, rather than giving into that attachment, better kill yourself now before you give into it. Now, does he mean literally kill yourself? Well, probably not, but you can take it in different ways. But he's saying, at least if you were dead, you wouldn't give into this, but you're going down this. What he's saying is, if you were dead, at least it wouldn't destroy you spiritually. But if you live and you give into this desire, it's going to destroy you spiritually. So better you die now. It's just an analogy, or, it's a way to understand a principle. So here's the problem. And I think we all know this is the problem. And I don't know how to say it any way other than, and I accuse myself of this also, we're stupid. Attachment to sense gratification. Anyone who is attached to sense gratification is stupid. And anyone who's a devotee and who's attached to sense gratification is more stupid, because the non-devotee may not fully understand the implication of sense gratification. We fully understand it. It means another body. So if we're attached to something to enjoy this body that will give us another body, that's stupid. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, I could use worse words than stupid, but let's just use stupid, because I think it's helpful to tell ourselves when we're attached to something, to talk to ourselves and say, you're stupid, you're an idiot, what are you doing? I think that's helpful. I think it's purifying to see that. Now, Prabhupada is trying to make us intelligent because we do stupid things. And he's trying to purify our intelligence so we can make proper decisions, have proper discretion. That's what he's trying to do. So now that makes us even more stupid, because he's giving us, he's saying, no, the path is to turn right. No, but I'd really like to turn left because it looks nice left. And when I look left, I feel good and I enjoy it. And Prabhupada's saying, no, there's jackals and tigers and it's dangerous. No, but it looks nice. The road there looks much nicer than the road right. No, just go right. And so if you insist on going left, that's really dumb, isn't it? Isn't it? I was thinking, I was having a thought. I've had this thought often when we discuss issues of right and wrong. What should we do? What's right? What's wrong? What if I'm attached to doing the wrong thing? There's a very, very simple answer to this. And I don't know why this is so neglected, but I often see this in discussions, that this point doesn't come up. And it's so obvious and simple. You just ask, what's going to please Prabhupada? What's pleasing to Prabhupada? Should I do this or should I do that? What's pleasing to Prabhupada? What's pleasing to my guru? Why are we always thinking, what do I want to do? That's not what Bhakti's about. What I want to do is not at all what Bhakti's about. Like Prabhupada was saying, Yudhisthira didn't want to lie. But Arjuna was willing to do what Krishna asked him. And therefore Arjuna is a better devotee. And so Prabhupada went on explaining that a devotee, he's not about what he wants to do. Okay, so my body and my senses want to do something. All right, so what? You're a devotee. You have this body, your soul, your pure soul is stuck in this body, and now you become a devotee. So what does it matter what your body wants to do? It matters what your guru wants you to do, what Krishna wants you to do, what Prabhupada wants you to do. So sometimes when we're not certain, should I do this or not, we'll just find out what Prabhupada wants and do that. It's like, hello. Now, that sounds like I'm preaching to like new bhaktas, but the fact is, I've been in high-level discussions where people are coming up with conclusions that are not what Prabhupada asks us to do, and like intellectualizing things ad infinitum to come up with a conclusion. And you look at the conclusion and you'd all say, you spent, 10 weeks studying this and studying Shastra to come up with this conclusion, but Prabhupada never said that. So it works that way. It's like somehow or other, we're trying to figure something out. Just ask the question, what would Prabhupada want? Who do you want to please? The public? Other people? You want to please the opposite sex? Or you want to please your guru and Prabhupada? It's a pretty simple question, isn't it? And if you think like that, you'll always do the right thing. So, you're attached to something. You can't give it up. All right, is this pleasing to my guru? Do I want to do something that's not pleasing to my guru? Do you want to do something because it gives you pleasure, so-called, for a while, but it doesn't give you pleasure, it doesn't give pleasure to your guru, and you think that's good, and you think ultimately that's going to make you happy? That's crazy. All right, okay, we added crazy to stupid. Okay, that's crazy stupid. That's not proper English, but that's slang English. Crazy stupid. Crazy stupid means really stupid. Isn't it? What do you think? You agree? I'm attached to doing something, and my guru says, no, this is not pleasing to me. And you say, I'm going to do it anyway because I want to do it. May God help you. May God help you. First principle of Bhakti, please Guru. No, I'm not going to do it. I know my Guru wants me to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do what I want. I mean, I have this feeling I want to enjoy this. You want to enjoy something that your Guru doesn't want you to do, it doesn't work that way. You can't enjoy it. And how could you enjoy something knowing that it's harming your spiritual life? It doesn't make any sense. So we have to be smart. But isn't this obvious? This one devotee went to Bhaktivinoda Thakura. He said, I have this problem with forgiveness. I just can't forgive this devotee. And he said the same thing. It's so simple. He said, if you forgive, that will please Krishna. So, it's like, but this devotee did this, and it wasn't right, and it was unjust, and they don't deserve to be forgiven, and all this list of excuses that we all have when we don't forgive. And then Maharaj says, but it'll please Krishna, so you should do it. Wow. One sentence. The whole thing's finished. I don't want to do this. It's hard. I don't know how to do it. I'm reluctant. I'm attached. Get your whole list of excuses out. But if you do this, it'll please Krishna. That's the answer. Simple answer, right? Yes? I'm sorry to be so simple, but it's simple. I don't know what else to say. Don't be stupid. And if we're acting, see, it's a problem, because once you become attached to sense gratification, to enjoyment, it completely sucks out your intelligence. So I'm saying, don't be stupid. It may be too late not to be stupid. Maybe we're already stupid. That's the problem. When you become attached materially to enjoying, it makes you stupid. Because it makes you think you can actually enjoy this, and it makes you think you can actually be happy here in this world, doing something that doesn't please Krishna. So that's like a vicious cycle. So, I'll give you another answer. And another answer to this dilemma is the preventative answer. Don't allow yourself spiritually to become so weak that you would become attached to something that's detrimental to your spiritual life. That's a better answer, I think. Because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Once you're attached, it's much harder to detach. It's much easier to prevent attachment. So, personally, if I'm ever in a situation where I'm spiritually weakened, immediately I think, oh, okay, that indicates my chanting is not good or my sadhana is not good, because otherwise why would I become attached to anything That's not good for my Krishna consciousness. And as you advance, then it becomes more subtle. So it might be that you just think of something. You're not really attached, but you think of it for a moment. And you think, why would I even think of that? It's not that you want to do it or there's any attachment. But you think, why would I even think of that? Unless there's some impurity in my execution of my devotional service. So if you find yourself facing some new attachment that you've allowed yourself to fall into, then naturally you should think, okay, that means my sadhana is weak. That means I'm being influenced by the lower modes of nature. If my sadhana were stronger, that wouldn't happen. So that should be wake up call, bad sadhana, and then you ask yourself, how have my rounds been lately? What time have I been getting up? What do I do after I get up? How much have I been reading? How much have I been criticizing devotees? How much time do I spend in what does Prabhupada call those activities? I'm so tired I can't think. Wasting time activities. There's a name for it. What's the name? When you waste time. Like just playing cards or something. Just like wasting time activity. There's a word I can't remember. Sorry. Oh. The word, and you do something which is a total waste of time. There's a word for it. Too much mucus in the brain, I can't remember. So, when we're in that situation, we have to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? There must be some problem in the execution of my devotional service that frivolous, yeah, exactly. Frivolous, How much time do you spend in frivolous activity? Talking about devotees' faults is also frivolous. Any time-wasting activity that's not productive spiritually, you could call it frivolous. So that's what I would suggest thinking. If you're finding yourself weak, then red flags, wake up, alarm clocks going off. Yeah, it's the word frivolous, yes. Then alarm clocks going off, and then okay, how did I end up in this situation? Then you go back. Okay, well, how's my japa? What time am I getting up? What about my reading? What about am I getting enough sangha? Am I going to the temple? Am I seeing the deities? What's going on in my life? And then you will probably find out the problem, and then you rectify the problem. So I think doing both of those things that I said, understanding the stupidity of not pleasing your guru, and then going back to sadhana. Very important. And this point about what will please Krishna, it's always your ace in the whole question when you're trying to make a decision. Well, what will please? Should I do this? Should I do that? Well, what will please Krishna? I know it's an obvious thing to ask. It's so obvious we don't ask it enough. Somehow or other, I don't know. Maya's so good at making things that are obvious not obvious, isn't it? Like some devotees, like they do things, and you can find letter after letter where Prabhupada says, "Don't do it." It's like, why are you doing this? Prabhupada doesn't like this. Yeah, but I'm just young, and it's not that bad. Okay, you're young, and admittedly, it's not a big thing, it's not a sin, but Prabhupada said he doesn't like it. So why are you doing it? We have to ask those questions. Our life is, life of devotee is meant to please Guru. It's such a simple thing. We learned that when we were young devotees. Okay, next question. Perhaps sometimes we have to go through stuff before we really sincerely pray. Perhaps we don't actually realize the detrimental effects of our anarthas, and that's why we don't pray. Yeah, I just realized. I wasn't praying for my biggest anartha, even though I knew it was an obstacle. Yeah, well, I think that's a symptom of a lower state of bhakti. Because in a higher state of bhakti, you're much more aware. Because you're more humble, and more humility brings in more awareness. And when we're less humble, we're less aware. And so, in a more advanced state, you don't have to suffer to pray, because it will experience any anartha as a blocking of your relationship with Krishna, and that will cause you suffering because you want that relationship so much. I think also, like you're saying, well, an aspect, you didn't say it, but an aspect, which is a huge problem, is just we don't care. And when we don't care, that's a sign of tamaguna. Because tamaguna is like, How do you describe tamaguna? You ever feel, that's tamaguna. How do you describe mode of passion? Yes, 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 we're going to do it. That's it. So mode of passion, yes. Tamaguna. So if you don't care, I know I have this attachment, I know I shouldn't do this, but, what can I do? I'm weak, and, it's nice, and it makes me feel good. That's all ways of saying I don't care. I know I'm going to hell, but it's going to, the ride to hell is very comfortable. And I'll have a good time on the way. Are you crazy or what? You're telling me you're going to have fun on the way to hell. You're having fun disobeying your spiritual master. Like, you can't say that. That's not right. So, yeah. But then the other neophyte thing we would say is, don't be fanatic, it's not so bad. Yeah, well, Prabhupada said it's bad, so you can't say it's not so bad. But we do that a lot. It's just a little thing, it's not so bad, I just need a little, yeah. Okay, that may be true in some cases, but in many cases that's not true. It is bad. If it's something your spiritual master doesn't want, it's bad. This morning I was listening to Prabhupada, he said, the first offense, disobeying the order of the spiritual master, will destroy you. It will destroy your bhakti. So, your guru says, go right and you go left, that is bad. It's like, no, this is a little thing, he understands me, he knows I need a little sense gratification, he won't mind. Well, maybe that's true, but maybe it's not, and maybe that's your rationale. But my question would be, why would you want to think that way, when clearly the road right is the way you should be going? So, isn't this all common sense? And I think we get caught up in this way of thinking because we have bad sadhana and our intelligence gets clogged. And then we become attached to sense gratification. And then all the rationale comes in. And when the rationale comes in, it seems perfectly okay to do it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. So then you're in trouble. There's a forest out here. I keep looking at the forest when I'm talking. It helps me talk. Sorry, I'm looking away from you. That's a beautiful forest. And the squirrels are in the trees. We're in North Carolina right now. The other thing you do is you get help from senior devotees. Because the association of senior devotees and their words can cut attachments. In a few sentences, sometimes they can cut the attachment. But the last thing I want to say is, don't ever, this is something Prabhupada talks about in the Gita, ninth chapter. Don't ever allow yourself to be in a situation in which your transcendental spiritual immune system becomes weak, and thus you become susceptible to fall into behaviors which are destructive or potentially destructive to your Krishna consciousness. That is the best advice I can give. And you have a spiritual immune system, and your sadhana keeps your spiritual immune system strong, and if you allow your spiritual immune system to become weak, that's when we, you, I, all of us become attached to sense gratification, because we're in a weakened state. And attachment to sense gratification is our default conditioned setting, which we always fall back into in a weakened spiritual state until we are more advanced in Krishna consciousness. Then we won't fall back into it. But until we come to that level, we fall back into it. And so if you allow yourself to be in a weakened state, it's almost like guaranteed it's going to happen at some point. And we think, well, my sadhana's not that good, but I'm doing okay in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, but one day, Maya's going to attack because you're weak. Maybe not today, but maybe next week, next month, next year. You don't know. So, if you chant good rounds, the worst thing that devotees do is they chant bad rounds. It's like, if you want to do something really bad in devotional service, chant bad rounds. It's like the worst thing you can do, because good japa and regular kirtan builds your transcendental immune system. And then the next worst thing is we don't read Prabhupada's books. So we chant bad rounds and we don't read Prabhupada's books. Good luck, Prabhu. See you around in the next life. How do you think you're going to be Krishna conscious if you don't actually do it properly? And then naturally Maya will come because your immune system is weak and you'll get sick. So that's really the best answer. The other answers are like what to do after you've been shot by the bullet. The better answer is how not to get shot by the bullet. Don't you think? Indranuja, don't you agree? Vidarbha, don't you agree? Rukmini, Dwarkadish, don't you agree? Garuda Prabhu, oh my God, Garuda Prabhu, say something. Enlighten us, write us, tell us your feelings. This is the way I see it. Frivolous, yes, see, Sadhurupa's my editor, she got the word right. Priya also, okay, Priya, you can be editor as well. What do we do when feelings are stronger than intelligence? Take a cold shower. You don't want to hear a funny story? I don't know if it's funny. Maybe it's a sad story. So we were distributing books for 15 hours. 15 hours. We were at the airport for 15 hours. It was the day before Thanksgiving. It's the busiest day at the airport. I think we stayed out till midnight or some crazy hour, from like 9 in the morning. And we were distributing books. The best spot to distribute was where these people were working, and they were gluing panels on walls. And every time someone came to the airport, the gust of wind would blow by the panels, and we were on the other side, so we received the fumes. And when we came back at night, we were actually high from inhaling glue fumes. I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but if you inhale glue fumes, you get high. We were actually high. Like, we were definitely high. And it was the middle of the winter in Salt Lake City, very cold, and I jumped in a cold shower. I go, my only hope is a cold shower. And then I went for a walk in the snow. I did something drastic. So, what do you do when feelings are stronger than intelligence? Do something drastic. Go for a walk in the snow. Get on the next plane to Vrindavan. The next plane for you, the next plane to Hungary. Spend a week in Hungary in that community, and do something. Find some good association. Do something, and knock it out of you. Like if you're really sick, you have to take some very heavy herbs and so forth. Like that. That's what I would suggest when you're in a situation where you're. Otherwise, Krishna's going to do it. But when Krishna does it, he might embarrass you. It might, whatever that anartha is, might become public information. And now Krishna had to embarrass you so much that you wouldn't do it. You don't want that. But sometimes that happens. Like Krishna creates a situation where it's like you're up against a wall and it's very uncomfortable. But he was saving you because you couldn't save yourself. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it does happen. So better you save yourself than Krishna having to embarrass you. So if you find that your material attachment to something which is detrimental is stronger than your intelligence, I would do something drastic. Like just run from Maya, like 64 rounds, or read Bhagavatam for 5 hours. Just do something to knock that out of you. Find your Guru Maharaj and go get on the next plane and hang out, do something. Because if you allow yourself to give in, then it starts to destroy your spiritual life. What's the point? All those years of spiritual practice, and you just like undo them, because of some stupid attachment. And you're going to take another body in the material world because of some stupid attachment that doesn't make sense. So sometimes you have to run. Like I always say, when Maya comes, run. When you see Maya coming, run as fast as you can the other direction. Don't just sit there and say, "Hi Maya, can you help me enjoy this? Thanks for coming, let's work on this together." And Maya will say, "Yeah, let's do it. This will make you happy. This is really what you want." I mean, after all, it's not really Krishna that you want. You really want this thing. And because you don't have this thing, you're not happy. And you're just actually artificially repressing your desire, and you really want this thing. Yeah, but this thing is going to give you another body. So I don't think you really want this thing. You just think you want it. Darshan of the deities purifies us for good japa, and good japa purifies us to actually have good darshan. Yeah, everything is synergistic. Everything helps everything, that's for sure. Indra Nuja agrees with me. So, since Indra Nuja agrees with me, that means I love you, Indra Nuja. Whoever agrees with me, I love. I wake up and go on Mangal Arti, chanting 60 rounds to 10 a.m. or 11. Sometimes I need to nap 2 or 3 hours after prasadam. It's a temporary or war with Maya. The nap helps me somehow. Okay, I have a story about a nap. So, when I became a devotee, I was previously a student. So we'd sleep like 8 or 9 hours, at least 8 hours. I think that's normal for students, 8 or 9. So becoming a devotee, I noticed that Rida Nanda Maharaj, who was then Bhakti Howard, would stay up like reading till 11 o'clock and then get up at 4. I thought, good idea, I'll do the same thing. So I copy him and stay up late reading, learning shlokas. We get up at 4. So going from 8 or 9 hours sleep to 5 hours. And so many of us were doing that, day after day after day after day. So one day we had a feast. And then after the feast, the temple president took a little nap. He was tired. So here's a little insight, brahmacharis. If the temple president takes a nap, it's your big chance. So everyone thought, we're all like dead tired all day, but there's never time to rest. Like, here's our big chance. The temple president is taking a nap. A nap means 10 minutes, 20 minutes, then we're going to get up and go out on Harinam. It was like, I think we took a nap like around 2 o'clock. Lo and behold, 5 o'clock came around and we were still asleep and just starting to get up 3 hours later, which means everyone was exhausted from not sleeping enough. And to this day, I remember this. This is you'll find this interesting that I remember this. I woke up and I said, this probably I'd been a devotee like 2 months at that point. And I turned to the devotee and said, "This is the first time since I've been a devotee that I don't feel tired and sleepy." I was like, I feel so good, I'm not tired. So yes, you have to get enough rest. And you don't get enough rest, it's really hard to chant good japa. Because you need some energy. Your mind becomes like jelly if you're tired, and it's really difficult to chant. So, I prefer to regulate my schedule so I get enough rest at night so I don't have to sleep later in the day. But Prabhupada did it, so he slept after lunch because he didn't sleep enough at night. So if it works for you, it works for you. I mean, if you have a job, you can't really do that. That happened to my party at Hempfest. What? Now I forgot what I said. Prajananda, now you're going to have to remind me what I said. So, it is now 5 to 8, 5 minutes to 8, and I can't go a long class today because I need time because we're doing a Japa workshop. So, Brajananda is going to explain to me that happened to him at Hempfest party, but I don't know what I was saying that happened. What? The fume. You said the sign of making, okay, that's the question. The sign of making progress is being happy, but when we are progressing, we are seeing more and more anarthas. What makes us unhappy? How do we understand? Yeah, because your party was inhaling fumes. Oh, the Sankirtan airport. Oh my God. That happened to him at the hemp party. Okay, he was, what, distributing books there? Well, now you know. Don't distribute books there next time. The now devotees are going to think, oh, this is a way to break the principles without breaking them. I'll just distribute books at the hemp party, and I'll inhale it all, so I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so the sign of making progress is being happy, yes. But when we're progressing, we are seeing more and more anarthas. What makes us unhappy? How to understand? Because if I see anarthas, it's a good sign because the question would be, did you see those anarthas before you were a devotee? And if the answer is no, that means you're making progress. So it's a sign of advancement that you see the anarthas, so celebrate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to celebrate our anarthas because we celebrate the fact that we're actually aware of them. Let's have an anartha party. I want to celebrate my realization that I could now admit that I have these anarthas. And a greater celebration is that I will work on them. And I should be very happy that I have the process of Krishna consciousness and I can work on them. Now, you know, as well as I know, that no matter how many anarthas you have, prasadam still tastes good. Yes or no? Like, does it not taste good because you have more anarthas? Like, if I have less anarthas than you, does it taste better? Well, maybe spiritually I can appreciate it more, but on the material level, it still tastes good, and you're still happy and satisfied eating it, right? Similarly, even though we have so many anarthas, kirtan is blissful, vrindavan is blissful, festivals are blissful. Of course, you could say it's more blissful if you don't have an artha. It's true, but it's always blissful because that's the nature. It's Krishna's spiritual energy, so it's always blissful. So even though we have anarthas, we can enter that spiritual energy and be happy. Brajananda got really high. Oh, I'm going to report you to the GBC. No, I won't. It's okay. It wasn't your fault. Okay. Brajananda had a hard time. Okay. So I think that answers your questions. It's enough to think about for today, and I'm going to have to say goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. And then, yeah, I'm not sure what we'll talk about tomorrow, even though we recorded this. Anyway, then Radhapriya, you can tell me if you have the recording and it's good, then maybe we'll continue that discussion about Prabhupada. But from this discussion, I think it's super important to always when there's some uncertainty, to think what will be pleasing to Prabhupada, and what would be pleasing to my Guru. It's so easy to make a decision that way. right? I'm attached to this. I don't know. Should I do it? What will please Prabhupada? What will please your Guru? Are you doing this just to please yourself, or is it to please your Guru? Simple question. Okay, Hare Krishna. We'll see you tomorrow. Jai Prabhupada.